Welcome back to another Sci-Friday, everyone. My name is Brandon. I'm the Education Director here at the Grout Museum. Today, I'm coming back to you with another experiment. This one is something we call the Rubens tube experiment. Now, the Rubens tube is a really cool thing because it actually kind of shows us sound waves in the air, but it does it with fire, and fire's always cool. So, I'm going to go ahead and show you what this experiment does, and then at the end, we will explain it just like we usually do. So, what a Rubens tube does is it has propane running through it, which is a gas that burns. The propane we obviously light with a lighter, and then what it does is it tells us what the sound waves are doing inside the tube. So over on the end here, we have the speaker that's making the sound, and then as the sound goes through the tube, it creates different levels of pressure that push the flame up higher. So I have a board for explaining. So inside the tube there's a wave coming out of the speaker. Let's say the speaker's on this side. That wave comes out of the speaker with the sound. Now, depending on what the sound is, waves will either come out in what's called a compressed form or a rarefaction form. Now, compressed means that in a small area there's a lot of waves that move really, really quickly, and there's a lot of them in a small area. Rarefaction is the opposite of that, where in a certain area the waves are more spread out and they look more like a wave. This just looks like a squiggly line. So when you have rarefaction, there's less waves, meaning less pressure. And if there's less air pressure, there's less gas coming out of those areas. There's less gas being pushed out of the tube at that point. And so anytime in that experiment, you see the low parts of the flame, that's a rarefaction zone because it's not pushing the gas out very high. Whereas on the compression, there's a lot of waves in a small area, and they create a lot of pressure. And so that pressure pushes the propane gas out higher and faster. And so you end up getting the bigger flames at this part. And those bigger flames and the smaller flames, they correlate to these words here, a crest and a trough. So at the middle of a rarefaction zone, you get what's called a trough, which is like the bottom part of a wave. At the middle part of a compression zone, you get what's called a crest, which is the top of a wave. And so those two things come together. You have crests and troughs, and in between, those sections are starting to transition into the other one, and that's why you get this curve here, instead of it just being like a flat up and down. So thank you for coming down to another Sci-Friday. Next week, we're going to start bringing you a different kind of science video, sort of. We're going to be exploring some of the exhibits we have here around the Grout Museum that maybe you've seen if you've been here, or you can come and see once we are ready to reopen at some point. And I'm going to explain them because there are a lot of times that they're things that you've played with, you've messed with, but maybe you didn't really know exactly how it worked. And so I'm going to go ahead and explain some of those to you. Thank you for coming to this Sci-Friday, and we'll see you next week.